Across Australia, the wheels of industry turn 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. These machines are tough, and the teams of people running them are even tougher. But what happens when these massive machines break down?
That's the fun bit.
Teams of Aussie mechanics, engineers, fitters and boilermakers step up to battle against tight deadlines in some of the harshest working environments on the planet.
These are the optimum working conditions.
From deep underground, on the water, on the front line, to high in the sky, they do the vital repair work to keep these heavy metal wonders alive.
It turned out better.
This is Mega Mechanics. This time on Mega Mechanics, a team from Brisbane's Gallipoli Barracks is on a mission to replace one of the Army's largest guns.
This tank behind me, I'm going to get a barrel change now.
Honestly, it's probably the coolest gun Defence has got.
And at 1,100 kilos, there's no room for a mistake.
Just control the swing and pull it back so we don't slam it back into the face of the turret.
In Brisbane, a vital part of the Royal Flying Doctor Service fleet has had a close encounter.
It's had an impact from a bird or a bat or something. Whatever it was, it didn't avoid the edge.
It's all hands on deck to repair the wing and get this important piece of kit back in the air ASAP.
You're up.
Righto.
And 5 stories above one of the world's largest coal export terminals near Newcastle, a maintenance crew is repairing a massive conveyor belt.
If we lose these belts out here, we lose 1/3 of our business.
Keeping 65 kilometres of conveyors running smoothly is what the belt team does.
You've got to get this thing right within 1 or 2 millimetres, otherwise we've got to do the whole splice again. So if we get it wrong, we lose about 24 hours. Tanks aren't forgiving. They hurt. You know, it's not just the people that receive what's going 2 kilometres away. They hurt this end as well, and you've got to be very careful with it.
They might be the heavyweights of Australia's land defence, used as close support for infantry and other army assets in bushland or urban environments. But these Abrams tanks still need to be handled with care.
So they've been on exercise, so they've been through some hard bush, through a bit of a hard time over the last 3.5 weeks. So they've brought them back here, and that's when we start the maintenance on them.
The tanks have returned from Operation Diamond Catalyst in central Queensland to their home base at the Gallipoli Barracks in Brisbane. Also back from the operation is Warrant Officer Terry Lemon, who oversees an elite team of mechanics and tradies that maintain one of the Australian Army's squadrons of M1 Abrams tanks.
So in this area here is where the crews come down on a daily basis. They conduct their crew maintenance and their servicing, and then my guys of the RAMI, they come down and they do some maintenance.
RAMI stands for the Royal Australian Electrical and Mechanical Engineers, the soldiers responsible for keeping Army equipment combat ready. Today, 2 maintenance teams have 2 very different jobs to complete. A team outside will be inspecting the tracks of one of the tanks for any wear and tear and replacing worn-out sections, while a second team will be working inside, led by armourists Luke and Tim.
So now we're in actually the main workshop for the 2nd War Team Light Horse Regiment. This tank behind me is going to get a barrel change now because its barrel's past its expected life cycle.
Generally, we don't do a full barrel change very often. It's pretty rare.
This sort of job might only be done once in a tank's life, and the significance is not lost on the team.
I enjoy the complexity. So for my trade and for the electronics trades in defence, it's pretty well the epitome of what we get to work on.
Out the turret, it's just a giant tractor. Honestly, it's probably the coolest gun Defence has got.
To replace the cannon, the crew will start from the extremity of the weapon and work their way in. Before the armour can come off, the muzzle reference sensor needs to be removed. This important piece of electronics recalibrates the barrel after it fires. Thermal shrouding that helps maintain temperature in the cannon will also be cleared away. Once the armour is removed, the crew will be able to loosen bolts securing the barrel to the turret. A crane then lifts the 1,100 kilogram cannon away from the tank and places it on the ground, where it will be stripped of any reusable parts. The process is then reversed for the installation of the new gun. This changeover needs to be completed today.
By the book, it takes roughly about 6 hours allocated. However, anything with maintenance, things go wrong and things go better, it could shift either way.
The 120mm cannon has a range of up to 4 kilometres. At that distance, accuracy is imperative, so the crew needs to ensure every step is completed carefully.
So what we're doing at the moment is removing the thermal shroud. It's just a protective barrier to stop direct sunlight and heat from affecting the main barrel.
But some of the protective mechanisms on this tank may prove difficult for the crew.
Some of the bolts that are required to take out to remove this outer armour are actually hidden behind the turret's front armour. So we need to elevate and depress the gun to gain access to the final couple of bolts.
Yeah, elevate.
The crew needs everything to go right to get this multi-million-dollar machine up and running again today.
Lock the gun in. Oh, no way.
This aircraft here has come down from Bundaberg after we had a wildlife encounter. So they hit a bat on the outboard right-hand wing.
At Brisbane Airport, the Royal Flying Doctor Service has its local hangar near the northwestern end of the runway. This plane is one of 77 aircraft in the Flying Doctor National Fleet. Around Australia, roughly 1,000 people rely on these planes every day. Keeping the pilots, plus medical crews and their patients safe in the air is up to maintenance teams like this.
It's a good feeling for us when we know that we can help from little infants right up to the very elderly. They're having a bad day. Our main aim is to give them the best possible care that we can when they're having possibly what is one of the worst days of their lives.
In order to provide regional and remote medical assistance, this flying intensive care unit is in need of mechanical care and repair. It's a King Air V200C, a twin-engine turboprop powered by Pratt & Whitney PT6A-42 engines. The engines are rated to 850 shaft horsepower, and when cruising, the aircraft does about 500 kilometres per hour. 13 metres long, with a wingspan of 16.5 metres, B200Cs require 1,000 metres of landing space. It makes no difference whether it's a sealed strip or bare dirt. The maintenance team have 5 jobs to check off their list. Repair the bat strike damage to the right-hand wing. Replace a fuel control unit. Carry out a landing gear swing test. Inspect the flight control cable pulleys and brackets, and perform a cabin pressure leak test. The RFDS maintenance crew have 2 days to get this plane back in the air. It's RFDS pilots like Hayley who rely on the hangar crews to keep them safe in the sky.
Whenever you need anything, just come in and give them a yell. They come out and help us. They're essential to what we do. If we didn't have the engineers, then the airplanes wouldn't go flying.
The structural damage to the wing means this 4-ton bird isn't going anywhere until it's fixed.
Had an impact from a bird or a bat or something, whatever it was, it's didn't the leading edge. That's the impact point where the bit of wildlife hit it. We got the replacement rib that goes in behind here, which is creased on there, and this is the new leading edge skin.
This is our second bird strike repair that we've done here in Brisbane this year so far.
2/3 of bird strikes happen during landing, one of the most dangerous phases of a flight. And with hundreds of patients taking off in one of these planes every day, they're not only putting their lives in the hands of the pilots, but also these skilled technicians.
We're
changing one of the conveyor belts, and it's a 5-day shutdown that goes around the clock. I've got probably about 7 or 8 guys in the team that are changing that. So we do around about 20 belt changes per year. This is probably one of the hardest ones as we're on top of the bin and everything has to come up by crane.
Newcastle, New South Wales. To the north of the city lies the Kooragang terminal operated by Port Waratah Coal Services. Up to 120 million tonnes, or nearly $15 billion of coal move through Kooragang every year, making it one of the world's largest coal export terminals.
We load a ship round about 20 to 24 hours, round about anywhere from 130 to 170,000 tonne of coal.
Keeping everything moving are 65 kilometres of conveyor belts and the skilled teams that service them.
We've got 3 ship loaders, so we do what they call 3-head loading, and we can do up to 30,000 tonnes an hour on that. This is 1/3 of that, or 10,000 tonnes an hour. So if we lose these belts out here, we lose 1/3 of our business.
To minimise disruptions, belt changes are scheduled a year in advance. First, sections of the old belt are rolled off by a winder. Then, new sections of belt are wound on. To splice the fresh sections together, metal cables embedded in the rubber are exposed at each end using angle grinders and utility knives. A bonding agent is applied. Then the cables are interlaced by hand. Next, the splice is sandwiched between 2 sheets of rubber. Then heating platens are placed above and below to compress and cook the join. The process of making one new join takes 16 hours, and the team have 4 joins to complete.
This one's been on since 2000. It's carried around about 500 million tonne of coal to the wharf, and it's starting to get a bit hard, a bit brittle.
The first stage of the splicing process is to line up the new ends.
Right, I want to do those clamps and we'll push the belt over a tad.
We're checking for alignment, making sure that everything's in centre.
If their measurements are out, problems will snowball.
Belt will run off, so it won't run in the centre of the system, and you'll have all sorts of trouble tracking the belt around the head pulleys and tail pulleys. So it's one of the most important parts of the job. Straddle the centre line there.
So if we get it wrong, we lose about 20, 24 hours. So. Oh, no way.
Just 1 hour into the 6-hour job, a crew of Defence Force armourists is battling to change the barrel on this M1 Abrams tank. But one of the trickier parts has surrendered surprisingly easily.
Never that easy.
So what we've just done then is crack the thrust nut, the main nut that holds the barrel to the recoil mechanism. It's generally a couple of person job. This one has been removed recently for deeper level maintenance. So as we've seen, it was a quick crack.
A crane is now supporting the cannon as the crew prepares for the most important part so far.
We're ready to start removing the main armament from the turret.
Outside, a second team is hard at work on the other tank.
Alright, you can release now. Back it off.
The tracks need to be inspected for any wear and tear after recent combat exercises.
Using that gauge tool, they're just checking that the actual track hasn't stretched. It's during the mission, the track heats up and metal expands. So that's just a measurement to make sure that each track link is in the correct spacing. If it's too slack, the track can come off while we're operating. And obviously, being a track vehicle, that's important.
The length of the track, if you get over a certain amount of damaged links, then you just replace the whole track. So they're going to go along and they're going to put those blue crosses on all of them, then they're going to add up how many they've got.
The crew has good reason to be concerned. Out in the field, one of the tracks came loose, causing some damage.
That whole right-hand or left-hand side, as you look at it, is all the rubber's been chewed up. And that's because as it's pulled off the sprocket rings have dug into that rubber.
It looks like with the amount of blue crosses on that track would be condemned. So what we would do from the stores, we would get a new track. It comes in 8-link sections, so we'll require 10 sets of 8 links. The tank crews will lay it all out, they'll join it all together, they'll change the sprockets on the tank, and they'll put them on the tank. They do both sides because it's like on your car, you don't change just one side, you change both.
This routine maintenance has suddenly turned into a much bigger project.
Because we're changing the track, we change the sprockets as well because these sprockets are worn to that track. And so when we put a new track on, we put new sprockets on and the pair can wear together as a mated pair.
And the entire process will need to be repeated on the other side of the tank as well.
You have to replace it in pairs,
yes.
Otherwise it
Wears,
doesn't drive the
doesn't
same,
wear
wears
right.
differently.
It sort of accelerates the wear.
Back in the workshop, things aren't going to plan either, as the armourer crew grapples with the old cannon.
Nothing, that's not going. Pull down again. No.
Old-fashioned muscle power is no match for the machine.
Yeah, it can be pretty tight on that thread. I think I want to back off that thrust nut a bit further. Tim, can you put the key back in, please?
To avoid a delay, the team is hoping some fine-tuning will allow the cannon to come free.
Okay, winch up. Steady. Come back down a bit. Whoop.
The first step we do when we get anything like a bird strike that happens out when the aeroplanes are flying is we have to assess the damage. Sometimes we can just put a patch repair over the top. Other times, like in this case, there's more structural damage that's done inside the wing.
In Brisbane, part of the Royal Flying Doctors fleet has been grounded by a bird strike. It's Chris, the team sheet metal worker's job to get this wing back into shape.
So I end up with half my toolbox out. It's mostly a lot of drills. Pistol drill's the main one. Most of our tools on aircraft are pneumatic. They're just lighter when you're holding them all day. Got a die grinder with a Scotch-Brite pad. Use that for polishing edges or taking paint off. I've got a 90-degree drill for getting in tight spots. Yeah, there's going to be a few coming out through the day. I've got a bit of polycarbonate sheet up here. It's allowing me to see where the holes are. I've drilled through them, so when I do mock up the actual skin going on, I've picked up some extra holes that are past where the skin will be. I'll pull some fasteners out. I'll be able to click it in place, and then I'll be able to pick up all my holes in the new skin where they're meant to be.
Drill, pin, check, repeat. At a different workbench, a second job waits.
We're going to change the fuel control unit as well. So the fuel control unit is kind of like the brains of the engine. If they want to go higher or faster, they'll push the power levers forward. The fuel control unit will schedule more fuel into the engine, produce more power, and then the aircraft can climb.
There's a bit of rigging to do to match the airframe controls to the actual new fuel control unit. So this is our fuel control unit here, and this is our power lever input from the cockpit. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to match this rigging on this cam box assembly to the one on the other side. And then you're going to go out and give it engine runs, because you can just put the fuel control unit on and get it within limits, but it's not matched to the other engine, so you've got to spend time to get them pretty close to the other side, so the pilots don't have discrepancies between the two sides.
Job number 3 on the checklist is a landing gear swing test.
Because we had the system open yesterday and we changed some retraction hoses. So yeah, it's just standard procedure. You've got to jack it up, swing it to make sure it's all working correctly.
Up we go. No fuel in the door, is there? Yep. Well, we won't be long. Unlike the sheety, mate, we don't take all day or 3 days or a week to fix something. That's red hot.
Put it in now.
Because we replaced the hoses, we have to do a functional check of the undercarriage before we let it go flying. One of the big things we look for is making sure the hoses aren't leaking. You all right, Benny? This is going to sound horrible the first couple of goes. Gear up.
Righto.
Gear up. You down?
This is the hard part of the job, which is the splicing. You're up in the building here, it gets pretty warm. And look, it's just challenging. You've got to get this thing right within 1 or 2 millimetres, otherwise we've got to do the whole splice again. So if we get it wrong, we lose about 20, 24 hours. So.
5 floors up, on top of a coal surge bin, the belt crew from Kooragang Coal Terminal are focused on centering a splice on a new conveyor belt.
We could have done this in 2 splices, 2 rolls, but we're restricted with the weight on the bin. The belt weighs 65 kilograms per metre, so each roll you're looking at around about 12 tonne.
Next, the belt crew carefully grind, dig, and slice the cables out of the rubber.
I've got to throw these ends back and give them a first coat of glue. And that's the process before we actually put the rubber back inside the splice. Righto, throw him over. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Go. Dino, can you grab us a G-clamp, mate, please?
Just putting our thermocouples in, our probes. They'll just keep an eye on the temperature of the cook when it's getting done, just to make sure that everything's in line with our control boxes and everything's, there's no issues there, and we just monitor that all the way through the heating up process and the cooking and the cooling process.
Next, some coats of cable cement.
This helps the rubber bond to the actual conveyor belt itself. You make sure they're all coated, and it helps the raw rubber adhere to the cables. It's very detailed, very hands-on.
I think all the boys on this crew, haven't they all been here sort of for 10 years?
At least 10 years. Got some more there, Josh?
Yeah, mate.
The most common belts we do are the reclaimers and the stackers over the other side. So you're only getting about 18 months out of those conveyors. But these big ones, they last. This belt here was on for, it's been on for 20 years. If they get another 20 years out of it, we'll be happy and I'll be retired.
While the cable cement dries, the crew prep the rubber sheeting for the bottom layer of the splice.
So the bottom will come in, which will marry up to the bottom of this original belt here. And then from that process, then you lay all the cables in individually, and then there's another rubber panel that goes on top of that one, which will become the top cover rubber, and which will complete the process of the layup ready for the splice to be cooked.
It's crunch time. This is when the crew find out if their measurements are dead centre.
We're going to go this side first, Dan. Just watch out there, Josh. That don't go over on you, mate.
Steady. Come back down a bit. Whoop.
A 120mm cannon is showing signs it's ready to be released. But there's still more manoeuvring required.
Steady. Too far? On the breech end of the gun, there's what's called an interrupted thread. So it's trying to align the gaps in the thread between the breech and the barrel to allow it to slide back out. So a little bit too far either way, and we'll grab the thread again, and then we won't be able to pull.
Yeah, it is. It's moving, yeah, it's moving.
You think I've been doing?
Done.
It takes an expert pair of hands to find the sweet spot.
You good?
Building,
So use 2 on each bar. As we pull it back out, just small jiggles side to side and guide it back out. Keep it moving nice and slow. Keep it jiggling, keep it moving. Right, next movement, you're gonna have to catch the swing of the barrel as it comes out. So as you see the breech end drop, just control the swing and pull it back so we don't slam it back into the face of the turret. Keep moving, almost constant movement. Keep coming, it'll slide out.
After all the frustration and fine-tuning, it's finally out.
Hold it, hold it. Winch down. Bring it down to their chest height. So at this point, we've just removed the barrel from the main armament, so out of the recoil mech. And what we have here is just the bare bones of what the cannon tube is. So from here, the next step in our barrel exchange will be to come through, remove our thrust nut from our bearing, and then remove the bearing from the tube and place it onto the new barrel that we have.
With only half the day left to complete their job, the outside crew is also making steady inroads as they work to get the track back on the tank.
They changed one sprocket. This one, we put all the new bolts in, Loctite all the bolts and torqued them up. Now they're going to remove the top sprocket here, swap that over, put another new one on there, and do the torque send on the bolts there. That's for that piece, and then they'll put that whole assembly back on the side of the tank.
During any operation, there's a bit of rust and mud that builds up on the sprocket. So when we put new ones on, we just get a nice clean so everything lines up properly.
The 30-kilo sprockets are lightweight compared to the sections of track. Each one weighs at least 3 times that amount. An entire set is around 2 ton.
So we're just getting the new track coming in. So we're just placing it so it's easier to build close to the tank, obviously because the heavy bits are linked, don't want to carry them too far.
The crane is doing all the heavy lifting on the 1,100-kilo gun barrel replacement.
Good, Max? Winch down.
How we doing, gents?
The cannon has landed, but the thrust nut and bearing still have to be removed.
It'll be a little bit, Max.
Which could take a while with the long thread.
Liam, come tap me out, bro.
You've got skinny arms, mate. No, we just take it in turn. It's a big thread.
I don't know what that winch is about.
All right, Mr. goes to the gym.
It's a tedious process requiring time and tenacity. But it's nothing compared to the challenge of removing the inner bearing.
Hold.
It's designed to prevent friction on the barrel, but this bearing is refusing to budge. If it doesn't, this barrel change won't meet today's deadline.
We'll give it one more crack.
Oh, yep, you go.
Nah.
You down? You got 3 green lights?
Yeah, 3 greens. Will do.
Green means go. A good sign for the maintenance team working at the Royal Flying Doctor Service hangar at Brisbane Airport.
There's 3 hoses on each landing gear. There's one here, and the other one hides in behind on this side. Mainly what I'm looking for here is any sign of any fluid leaks coming out of the hoses and just making sure that they're not going to foul on the undercarriage as the reel comes up. Everything's nice and tight, there's no signs of any leaks. We'll have to do multiple retractions and extensions just to get any air out of the system to bleed the air out. And then after that, we'll top the fluid level back up to the correct level and we'll be right to release the aircraft for service for the landing gear. Thanks, boys. Right.
That's one of 5 jobs done. Progress is also happening with the wing repair.
I'm just cutting off these tabs that are on here now for no reason. Yeah, it's just a handling issue. It just basically grinds the metal off. It's like a little portable belt sander, really. And I'm just, cleaning up where I've cut, bringing it back to the line nicely and around the edges.
With lives always on the line, aviation maintenance is a high-stakes game. To let off steam, the crew use their tea breaks to de-stress.
If it's a draw 2.
Oh, you're...
Oh, are you serious?
Lauren, the team's supply chain manager, could have the last laugh.
Shake, what have you got? Winning green blue.
Hey, can't show me my cards, bro.
What's he got? Now we're back.
Calm down.
I need a plus 2.
Blue, please. Go yellow. You want blue?
No, yellow.
Go, Luke.
Go blue. Blue.
I'll do it for you.
Thanks, buddy. Team one, reverse it.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll win.
Of all people.
Cards might be over, But Chris has got to get motoring with his industrial version of connect the dots.
I am just putting in these dimples to match the skin. Some are dimpled, some are countersunk. So, yeah, just slowly working along. This is where you could sort of stuff it up a bit.
We're going to go this side first, Dan. Just watch out there, Josh. That don't go over on you, mate. Very detailed.
Measure twice, cut once. An important motto for the belt team working 5 stories up above the Kooragang coal terminal in Newcastle.
For this belt change, you're probably looking at around about $750,000. A lot of the cost is the equipment and the setup, so there's a lot of engineering that's gone involved.
Each side of this new conveyor belt splice has got to line up dead centre. Otherwise, hours of work will be lost.
We've got a lot of things crossed at the moment, so the only thing that'll be crossed will be my boss if I go over time.
All good, mate? Lovely.
Next, the cables are evenly divided, 62 on each side of the centre line.
You've got to make sure you get the right centre cables. So you start off in the middle with even, you'll have 2 on the outside as opposed to butting them together. And because the belt's running this way, you've got to end up with your outside cables on the leading edge. So if the edge picks up, if the belt runs off and it picks up, that cable's going to be trailing, so you won't rip the edge of the belt off.
When they lay the second end down, they start lining the cables up starting from the centre, and they start working their way out each side. So a little bit arduous, a little bit of a task getting all that centred.
You got to make sure you get it nice and straight to start with, nice and square with them centre lines that we mucked around with earlier on. If we start that out of sequence, towards the end of the layup stage, you'll have extra cables on one side more than the other. So then you've got to backtrack to find out who laid the wrong cable in.
We'll give it one more crack. Let's see where we go from there.
An inner bearing on the barrel of an army tank is stuck fast, and until it's removed, the replacement cannon can't be installed.
So this inner bearing doesn't often get taken out, even at deeper level maintenance. The only time this is ever removed from the barrel is when we're conducting a task like we are now. So there's a good possibility that that bearing has been sitting on there since 2006 or before when we received it from the States. Very tight years of being on there, it's just fighting a little bit coming off. Nah. There's so much old grease on these things, it's ridiculous.
The team is attacking it from all angles.
Will it go just by the spanner now?
With a bit of persistence, the problematic part is starting to give way.
Should nearly be it. It's just got to, yeah, no, it just needs to wriggle down. Try and wriggle and twist. Yep, that's it.
Hey. Finally, it's released, with most of the reusable hardware now stripped from the old barrel.
Sling, Tim. All right. Max, crane over.
The new one is ready to be prepped for service.
Lower.
Now it's just a matter of putting everything back together.
Shortly we'll be starting to refit the bearing back onto the main part of the barrel, and we'll start nipping everything up and get the prep to put it back inside the tank.
The team outside is almost halfway through replacing the tracks on another Abrams tank.
So we got the new sprocket rings back on. Now we've got the track rebuilt. We've just put it back onto the tank. Now we're just tightening it up, reconnecting everything. So what you want to do is you want to bring the top track to the bottom track.
The damaged track has been replaced, but the team still needs to even things up.
We're going to start building the other side of the track. Line it all up in a line,
build it up together, bolt it all together, torque it all up, and then we drive the tank over, fit it to the tank, fit everything up, and once all that's done and we've greased it, we're good to go.
Righto, hats on. Ready to go back in?
Back in the workshop, the team is moments away from mounting the gun.
We're now ready to actually start putting the barrel back inside the tank. So from here, we'll pick it back up till about there, Max, steady. We'll realign it so that the barrel's facing upmost the way it goes in, and then we'll be putting it back inside the tank.
But there's one last step that could make all the difference.
Has it got grease on it?
I felt a little bit, but I'll like some more.
You want more?
No, I like my grease.
Yeah, it's a bit dry at the back, isn't it? So we're going to apply a little bit more grease before we slide it back in. That should hopefully make the insertion a little bit easier. You guys are going to guide it in for that first bit so we don't crush the teeth.
If they don't get the angle right, the generous coating of grease won't protect one of the Army's largest weapons.
Yeah, I missed one of the holes and then I wanted to pick up where these little light cover bits go.
At the Royal Flying Doctor Service hangar at Brisbane Airport, a whole lot of holes have to be lined up, drilled and dimpled to get this metallic bird back in the sky, pronto.
Usually everybody ends up waiting on the sheety. They can't get on with their job till mine's done usually.
It's day 2 of this bird strike repair. It's one of a number of jobs to be completed by knockoff time. Inside, the cabin's being cleared out for a cable pulley and bracket inspection.
So you've got trim cables and your main flight cables. So the larger ones are your main flight cables. The smaller ones are your trim cables. So I'm just going to make sure that the bearings on those pulleys are okay and that there's no nicks out of them. You want your pulley to roll. You don't want it to, the cable to scissor or cut into your phenolic. It'll start chafing and wearing your cable away.
Outside, the cherry gun's ready to pop.
It's like a popper of a gun, but foot more specific for those fasteners. All right, so that one there didn't pull up that nice. You only heard one click then. That popped twice. So this one's good, it's locked in correctly, and this one's not. This first one that didn't pull up nicely, it hasn't locked in all the way, so I'm gonna have to remove that fastener and put a different one in. Getting 2 pops, good rivet.
Back in the cabin, the team are checking the flap drive cables.
These cables that are hanging out the side are the drive cables that go out to physically drive the flaps up and down. So that little keyed insert in there spins as the motor drives, and that's what runs the flaps up and down. I've got to line up these square drives here with the spline engagement and the gearbox. There we go. Sometimes you got to hold your tongue the right way.
That was all it was, yeah. Sometimes it goes in, sometimes it doesn't. It's just one of those things. Just found something here though. Some spline damage. Just found something a bit funny.
Brisbane have uncovered a problem in the underfloor of this King Air B200C.
Some of the wires have uncoiled and lifted up.
If we start that out of sequence, towards the end of the layup stage, you'll have extra cables on one side more than the other. So then you've got to backtrack to find out who laid the wrong cable in.
High above the Kooragang coal terminal in Newcastle, an expert maintenance team are splicing together a new 375-metre long conveyor belt.
Usually that person that's laid the wrong cable in owes the rest of the crew a carton of beer. That's why they're kicking me out.
The good or bad news is no cartons of beer needed to be purchased. By the next shift, the belt team are at the vulcanising stage.
These here are the heating platens here. You've got one of those on the top, and you've got another one underneath. It's like a big sandwich press. And the pressure bags here are filled with water, so we just pump the water in there. That's how we get the pressure. What is it? Yeah. So at 80 degrees, we'll pump that up to probably 100 PSI. From putting the top of the press on, you're looking about an hour to heat up, an hour to cook, and then an hour to cool down. So probably 3 hours for the vulcanising process. We'll get 100, mate.
What's yours, Brendan?
Yeah, we've got 100 over here.
Yeah, the probes are reading a lot closer. What are your probes?
I've got 83, 86, and 81. So they're all within 5 degrees, so that's good. That's what we want. It was a slow start, but we're making up time as we go along. And I think we're probably about 2 hours ahead of schedule from where we were yesterday. The hardest part of the job's setting up and making sure your lengths of your conveyor belt's right. Once the job gets up and running, you know, you get into the rhythm and you starts to flow a bit better, but there's a new bit of belt coming up the return side of the belt there. So when that belt comes on, that'll pull around and we'll get both ends again on the table here, and that'll be the final splice then, which will be this time tomorrow. Job done.
You guys are going to guide it in for that first bit so we don't crush the teeth.
A brand new barrel is being fitted onto an Abrams tank. The team are in the last critical moments of this 6-hour job. Lining it up takes patience and practice.
Raise the muzzle a little. Winch up. Winch up. Steady. Righto, jiggle it and walk it in. There she goes. Righto, steady there.
The barrel is back in. But for the gun to be functional, it needs to be connected to controls in the tank.
So this next bit of equipment that we're fitting up will go inside the turret and it'll connect directly to the recoil mechanism. It's designed to apply pressure as it would while the main arm is firing.
Part of the refit involves testing the recoil. But unfortunately for the crew, it won't be operating as normal until the job is complete.
It is slightly time consuming. So the pumps that we get with these are all hand operated, so it takes a little while to move such a large recoil mechanism back. If it makes you feel better, we're about halfway there.
While they do that, the track team has made good time getting the second side sorted, using the heavy metal to their advantage.
Basically all we do is we take it forward so that we can iron out all the kinks in the track. As you can see, it's flat now, it's not all bowed up.
Which is a good indication it's ready to go back on. And there's a bit of tolerance if it's not dead straight.
No, if it's not directly in line, the track will usually line itself up as it roll up the track.
Getting the track hooked on is the easy part. Making it fit properly is more of a challenge.
What they're doing is they're taking as much slack to the front as they can, so that gap between the two track links is as small as possible, so they can get these clamps on, and then these clamps can pull it together.
Let me know when.
Getting the right tension is a time-consuming process. And they're not taking any chances working under a 63-ton tank.
All the time the tank is running, you've got to have someone in the driver's cab, just in case something happens, so we can shut it down, emergency shut down, or jump on the brakes if necessary.
The last links are the most difficult to line up.
The bit that they're hammering on the end is called an end connector, and it joins the track link together. It's got to be hammered on because it's tight, and also there's a bit of tension on the track. And then they'll have to run it backwards and forwards and tighten them up, tension them a few times until the track sort of bends itself in, and then it'll be good to go.
10 long hours after they started, the tank is ready to roll again. The inside crew is close to completing the work on its Abrams.
It all kind of goes together as a jigsaw, so each has got its own unique mounting point. So it's pretty easy to step your way through it.
The brand new barrel is locked, but not yet loaded. That will have to wait until it's next on exercise.
Next time we go out field, we'll proof the gun by firing 2 rounds remotely through it. Didn't fight us at all through the whole process. Everything went smooth and simple. Very happy.
Just found something a bit funny. Some of the wires have uncoiled and lift it up.
With 3 of the 5 maintenance jobs done on the crew's checklist, the RFDS maintenance team in Brisbane have uncovered a problem in the underfloor of this King Air B200C.
If one of these drives is rounded off, it's going to drive some of your flaps and not others.
The documentation gives us a limit to inspect it to, and if it's outside that, then it'll be a cable replacement. So we'll just buy a new one and just change it.
An easy fix, unlike the painstaking bird strike repair to the right wing. The rivets are in. Next, getting a finicky lens cover in place. If it's over-trimmed, that's $2,000 in the bin.
Just need something to pry that up in a little bit. They're just known as a skin knife for, yeah, common use sort of sheety tool, just for lifting skins up.
Meanwhile, the rest of the team prep for the last job on their checklist, a cabin pressure leak test.
This is pretty much just an air pump which is going to push pressure into your cabin, and it's going to simulate a differential pressure or cabin altitude for us. And at 6 psi is quite a lot when you've got such a large volume. You'll be able to feel the leaks, hear the leaks. You ready, brother? Jakey, can you open that valve for me?
Good to go. I can feel a tiny bit from the outflow valve.
What about up there in that flat bay? Can you hear it? No. So my cabin pressure's at 5.5 psi at the moment. So we're currently at 2,000 feet a minute. The acceptable's 2,400, so we're within limits. We're all good legally, but we'd like to get it a bit better, just so it's a bit more accurate for the pilots when they're going up and down. It'll be more responsive, yeah.
Now it's just up to Chris to finish his wing repair, and the team will have completed all 5 jobs on schedule.
All right, this has got to be it. It's either gone horribly right or horribly wrong now, I think. Come on. And there we go. Only took way longer than it needed to. Success. It fits. I'll supply you with one. Thanks, buddy.
That's what I do. It's part of my job. I hate to say it, but it looks pretty good, hey? We don't like to talk the sheeties up too much because they get big heads. But, no, he's done really well there. That looks really good.
Just another day at the RFDS, really. Tomorrow's another day, something else will come in and we'll fix that too.